We welcome in from the Moore Group realtor Scott Moore to join us to discuss that. Scott, thanks for doing this.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing? And literally, how is your business right now? Is it slowed down a bit? Is it picking up? What are you experiencing right now?
Business is great. I kind of knew this year was going to be amazing. Like, there was a lot of pent-up demand from the interest rates being so high and the interest rates coming down a bit. So I told my team in December, I said, wow, this is going to be a big, big year. I think, I don't know if it's going to be like 2021, 2022, but I think I'm expecting it to be a very, very good year. And business, this month was really, really good. It's busy.
Yeah. So how has it been? And we'll talk about that. When the rates went up, and we know they're coming down, we'll get into that as we go into spring as well. But clear to say that the market was affected a little bit with just the interest rates, or was there more to it?
I think that had everything to do with it. We look around the city, say a $500,000 home at 5% down, at 3%, the monthly mortgage would be $2,400. At 5%, it'd be $2,800, almost $2,900. That would be $550, a month extra. I mean, that's I heard a lot of buyers saying, I'm willing to wait. I don't want to pay these high interest rates. So now that they've come down a bit and people are ready to start buying again.
When you say there's been a pent-up build, clearly people were waiting. Other people that the demand has always been there. As we head into spring, you already said it'll be a little busier. What are the rates being at where they're at right now and going into the spring? How will that help so many different demographics?
Well, I mean, exactly. It helps everybody. I mean, $550 a month on an average home, for example, a month. I mean, it's just with inflation across the board from, I think I spent $16 in orange juice last week. Hockey, life, I mean, as Winnipeggers, it's just up. So, I mean, $600 a month, I mean, that just eases everything off a little bit. And I think there is a pent-up demand of people wanting to get back and then start buying now. And as far as, inventory rates, we just haven't seen that many houses go to market since probably November. A lot of the bigger realtors like myself in the city have just sort of held off a little bit in the winter when it gets so bad. But I think as spring goes, as more inventory comes out, I think there's going to be a lot of sales. Obviously, these tariffs, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole other conversation that we're going to have to sort of deal with in the next sort of 90 to 120 days. I mean, we're going to have to sort of figure out what that means. But as far as the outlook, I think it's looking pretty good.
So let's talk about the tariffs. How might that affect the Winnipeg realty market?
Oh, it's such a large conversation, obviously. New construction, I mean, it's not going to affect new construction that much. Imports from the U.S., it's only about 8% of our construction costs are from the States. And it's a lot of the sort of the mechanical equipment like HVAC, ACs, appliances, certainly. I think appliances account for $3.4 billion of sales in Canada, $1.6 billion of furniture. So that sort of stuff is going to be affected for sure. But, effectively, construction costs shouldn't go up that much. What I am worried about is an article from the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce yesterday said 62% of Manitoba businesses are expecting negative effects. I think another 22% expect layoffs or hiring freezes. I mean, that could affect the market for sure. I don't think it's going to be today, though. I think that might be sort of, again, 4 months away, 6 months away. It'll take some time to set in if these tariffs even come, right? It's so weird just reading the news every day. Are they coming? Are they not coming? I think there is going to be something for sure. But we really won't know. We're just going to take this thing day to day, really, at this point.
Yeah, and how do you know when it's coming to these tariffs and what may or may not happen in the next couple of weeks, next week or so, and then going forward in the next months? You mentioned inventory. Hasn't been a lot of it year to year over the past decade here in the city. What kind of inventory are you seeing on the market coming into spring?
The inventory is about even, but the stuff that is coming to market right now is up. Nationally, CMHC is expecting high demand and expecting prices to go up. All MLS sales are up 10% over January 2024 and 1% above a 5-year average. Detached homes, average price went up 6% year over year from January. I mean, that's considerable. I mean, part of the reason why I moved to Winnipeg from Vancouver was it's a very flat market here. It goes up 1% a year, 2%, but a 6% rise in just, year over year in January, that's a lot. But this January is the 7th month in a row where sales were up. So it's a trend. I mean, sales are up. January 25 was the second best January in Manitoba history. So again, in December, I think I was right. I think the market's going to be really, really good. Will that change? It could. People are ready to buy, and inventory levels, in general, in the winter, it always is slow a little bit anyway. And a lot of our city, older people, they don't want to sell their house in the winter. And some of the busier agents like myself, we kind of take December and January off. In general, we're done for the year anyway. I think inventory levels will come out. I think we're going to see a good amount of inventory, which will cool things off a little bit. Like right now, I've had a number of sales in the last 2 weeks. I look like a hero, Jim. Everything I'm selling has got 6-8 offers. And one house, it was the same house in the market in the fall. It was the same exact house, and I sold it in one day. So there's a pent-up demand for buyers right now trying to get in the market because the interest rates are low, and they want to get in. They want to settle into a lower interest rate. I mean, historically we'll get into interest rates, but I mean, they're usually, almost 6% historically from 1990, I believe, till now. So 3%, I mean, people are trying to get in and trying to live that Winnipeg or Canadian dream and get a nice, home and settle down. And so I think there's a lot of pent-up demand, and we'll see what happens with inventory levels. I'll keep my eye on it, but it's okay so far, and I'm expecting more people to want to sell come March, April, May. I mean, that's our busy season historically in Winnipeg. That's when we're like farmers. We work all winter, try to get leads, and and then all of a sudden, as the spring comes out, that's when we sell houses. And I think it's going to be okay again, pending this tariffs and how it will affect Winnipeggers.
Yeah. You mentioned inventory. Is there a certain demographic? Like, is it the first-time homeowner? Is it the people trying to upgrade? Is it the people downsizing, retiring? Is there a certain demo out there that is hotter than normal or hotter than the others?
Yeah, I would say in general, I mean, it's always kind of been like that, like the $300,000 to $400,000 sort of, I would say, entry level or new buyers coming into the market. That's always busy. Like, that doesn't change, And I think as interest rates are down, I think that's probably the biggest demand. The second tier, I would look at sort of the lifetime homes, the $600,000 to $700,000 houses. That's really, really busy right now. But as far as people who are selling right now, I mean, I did a quick study just for you today, Jim. I was like, who are these people who are selling right now? We have almost 20% of Winnipeggers are seniors. 75% of those people own the homes they live in. And these are people that are thinking about retiring. They're thinking about moving. A lot of my people, fortunately, they're moving out west. They want to move, they want to retire or even downsize to a condo, right? So I think that demographic, my mom's age and the baby boomers are living in these big 2-story houses, and they're thinking, yeah, it's probably time to sell, and probably it is a good time to sell for these people. Like, the prices are high, and I think the demand is there. So that's sort of the snapshot. Honestly, one other factor that I've seen a lot in the last 3-4 months is the real high end market, which I deal in. Like, we've sold some houses, $2 million Tuxedo. I think 3 houses over $2 million in the last 3 months. Like, the high end market is actually doing really well right now too. So, just generally to answer your question, I would say the $300,000 to $400,000 houses are always active, and people are trying to get in again, live the Winnipeg or Canadian dream, just to buy a home, right? A detached home in a nice area. Yeah, that's the number one. It always will be.
Right. Yeah. And last one for you, Scott, is I had some friends about a year ago bought a show home and got a really good deal on it because home builders, everything slowed down. And so the show homes that were built weren't selling, and they're continuing, home builders, as we all know, continue to build a year, 2 years in advance. How's the show home market right now coming into the spring?
It depends on which category, Jim. Like, I deal with this Discovery Homes, and we're one of these sort of mid-grade builders that deal in all of the big areas like Prairie Point, Highland Point. They're big areas. I mean, we really can't keep houses on the market. We do spec homes, it's called. So we build ahead of time. We'll build 5, 7 houses. We'll sell those very, very quickly, but it's price dependent. They're $550 to $600,000. Those are always very, very popular. But also, I'm dealing in other areas, like the higher areas, like Forest Grove Estates. I mean, it's very slow right now. These are houses from $800,000 to $2 million. It's a bit slower, but it's always slower. People are always, when your budget's over $1 million, you're a little fussier. You want to buy that dream house. You want to, is it what type of builder or what type of lot you're going to buy? So I would say, the show homes specifically, they're always a little more higher end. There might be some deals on that for sure. A little higher end homes, but I'd say the sort of run of the mill sort of mid-grade new construction home is still pretty busy today. And again, we're going to look at the tariffs and everything else and see what happens with the economy. That might slow down, but it is pretty good today.
Awesome. Great stuff, Scott. Really appreciate this insight as we head into spring and what the market might look like in Winnipeg for sure. How can people get a hold of the More Group, regardless of their demo, and how can you help them?
You know what? You can just call me at 204-995-7355, or just go to Google and go More Group and press enter. You're going to find us there. We'd love to help. We have 5 agents that are active and in all categories, from new buyers to luxury to our bread and butter, which is the $500,000-$600,000 houses. But we'd love to help, and thanks for listening to us today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate your insight and your time on this. I know you just made a presentation on this 2 weeks ago, so this is a popular topic right now, right?
It is a popular topic, and honestly, it's frustrating too, because we don't know, and maybe queue me up for another meeting in another 60 days, and I might have something completely different. But right now, we're sort of bullish. We're ready, and we're ready for a good season. I hope this, Trump and all things U.S. and what's going on, Jim? These are our neighbors. It's tough right now, and I hope that poor Canada, leave us alone. We're trying to. We just got out of COVID. We want to move on. We want to talk about the Jets. I hope the next conversation is us winning the Jets. Just move on from this, right? So, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think it's kind of like a day-to-day, but certainly like a 60-day thing. 60 days from now may be different. And
right.
I hope, the best for everyone.
Yeah, great stuff, Scott. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And hey, I love your honesty, because that's what I tell everybody, no matter what part of the tariff industry could hurt us, I've been saying it's okay to say you don't know, because we don't. So that's fair enough.
We don't know. Yeah. We don't know, Jim. So we'll keep an eye on it.
Appreciate it, Scott. All the best.